everyone, and welcome to Eclectic Whimsy, located at 2801 Placida Road here in Englewood. We are home to over 30 local artists that have all kinds of fabulous creations for you to come and see. We are also a retailer for Dixie Belle chalk paint, and we have all the little bits that you need to do your chalk painting projects. We do custom painted furniture that you will see all around the shop. And we also have a bunch of fabulous classes. Our new class schedules come out the beginning of each month. We are right now trying to keep our classes at very low numbers because of our crisis that we're in right now. But today we are going to be learning the basics of chalk painting on furniture. So we're going to use our Dixie Belle products, our paints, our brushes, our sealers and prep products, and we're going to transform a very ugly nightstand. It was beautiful one day to somebody, but not now, into a fabulous coastal piece of furniture. So sit back, get your apron on, and here we go. Okay, here we are. We are ready to transform this well-loved piece of furniture into a coastal beauty, because that's what we all love down here in sunny Florida. Okay, so my first tip is when you find your well-loved piece of furniture, whether it is at a thrift store, a garage sale, on the side of the road, make sure you check it out as far as how well it's made, or if it's damaged. If it's damaged and it's going to need a little repair, don't take it unless you know you can do it. Nextly, remember when you're looking at the bones of the furniture, when you find that piece at the thrift store, it's the bones that matter, because we're painting it. We're going to transform the outside into something beautiful. So I have this little nightstand. This one is extremely heavy, so you'll see me struggle as I'm trying to move it around. First thing you're going to do is clean it, which I have wiped it down already. Then you're going to remove your hardware, which I have already removed the hardware on 2 of the drawers. So you got to make sure you've got your Phillips head or your flat head, whatever it is. We're going to take these off. If you have younger eyes, it'll be easier to see the little guy in there. And when I remove my hardware, just be smart. I keep a little container or a bucket or something. My screws are in there, my hardware's in there, so it's all in there together. And I always keep it with the furniture that I'm painting. Right now it's going up the back there. Okay, so the other thing you're going to look at when you get your piece of furniture that you're going to restore is the finish that's already on there. Dixie Belle products have 2 different preps that we do to our furniture. A lot of furniture needs no prep. No sanding. I mean, you have to clean it, but no sanding. You can just go right onto the surface with your paint. Sometimes if a piece is really dark and the wood is very, that's still dirty on there, and the wood is aged a lot, we have a product. I'm just going to wipe the schmush off of there. We have a product called Boss. Boss it blocks odors, stains, and it stops bleed through. Some old wood is stinky. And sometimes also the old wood, the tannins in the wood will seep through. If you've ever seen something that is painted and there's like yellow blotches, that's the natural tannins in the wood just seeping through. So the Boss will stop that from happening. The other thing that we have for prep is called Slick Stick. So if you have a piece of furniture that is, I just have drawers here for this, that is real shiny, If it's wood that's real shiny, or even you can do it on like a laminate surface, tile, marble. If it's real slick that your paint's not going to stick to it, you're going to use Slick Stick. It gives it just like a little bit of an adhesion to help the paint stick to it. So this lovely piece is going to get Boss. Boss comes in a clear and white. We're using clear today because it's what I have open. That's a good reason. I'm strong. So this is the clear Boss that's on here. I already went ahead and bossed the entire piece except for this drawer. Let me grab a brush. I put my Boss on with just a cheap little chip brush just because it's a harsher product, and if it ruins my brush, it's okay. I'll just throw it away. So you're just going to dip it in, and the Boss, we're just going to, it almost looks like glue. Just coat it on. You want a nice even coat. It doesn't have to be like, you're not going for full coverage. You're just going, it's just coating it, giving it something. You're just protecting your wood basically, but you don't think of this as your paint. I mean, it's, you know, doesn't look beautiful. It's just, this is our protective barrier. So that's the Boss. Right now, this is the clear. It has a little bit of a milky look to it, but it's going to dry clear just like these drawers that have already been bossed. And I'm just going to put that right there. And then this other drawer that I have that has the slick finish on it, I'm going to use my Slick Stick on it. But we need to remove our hardware. So this piece is real slick. I just removed the knobs. Sorry you missed the struggle. So I'm going to use the Slick Stick. The Slick Stick is white. And you're going to think, oh God, it's really ugly. So we're just going to brush it on. We're going to cover the whole thing. But again, we're not going to worry about how pretty it looks, because this is on the very bottom underneath all of our paint. So you just want to cover the surface. So that it's going to give your paint something to adhere to. I always try, and whenever you're painting anything wood, especially, try to go with the grain of the wood. Okay, so we got a good coverage on there. We're going to let it dry. So both the Slick Stick and the Gator Hide, they usually take, I would give them like at least an hour to dry. Being here in Florida, our dry times tend to change because of our humidity. So, you know, you should be able to tell if it feels cold. Well, if it's wet, it's wet. If it feels real cold, sometimes that means it's not dry all the way through either. Okay, so we're going to move this guy away and let him dry. Okay, so now I'm back to this big piece of furniture. It has already been Slick Sticked and is, not Slick Stick, sorry, Gator Hided, and it's dry. So you want to make sure you remove all your drawers. It's going to make it much easier. He's pretty well cleaned out. He has his Boss on him, so we shouldn't get any bleed through. Now the next question is, what color am I going to use? Dixie Belle has a huge amount of colors. I think we have like 60. Every year they're coming out with some new ones. If you pop by the shop, we have a color guide that you can look at. We also have wooden spoons that we've painted with all the different colors. And that's a great way to look at the spoon and actually see it on wood and get a good representation of what the color is. But another thing Dixie Belle does with their paint, which I love, they're all in clear jars. So there's no guessing what color that is inside. That's the color. So today I decided to use my favorite Dixie Belle color that represents where we live. The color is called the Gulf. It's a beautiful aqua turquoisey type color, and it just fits well with all of our decor down here. So we're going with the Gulf. You always want to make sure you shake it up first because it's a mineral-based paint. So sometimes the minerals could separate a little bit in there, so you want to give it a good shake. And we're going to use a chalk brush to put it on. Why a chalk brush instead of a regular paintbrush? A chalk brush is a very dense brush as far as the amount of bristles in here. It will hold a lot more paint. And also because of the fine hairs, you're going to get less brush strokes. Chalk brushes are an investment. They're not cheap to buy. So when you do purchase one, you need to treat it with love. Don't ever leave your chalk brushes out to dry out. You're just going to ruin them. So, and all you need to do with the Dixie Belle paint is it's just soap and water cleanup. I always tell people to keep a bucket or a container. I have my old sour cream container here full of water. So in case the doorbell rings or you have to answer the phone, worst comes to worst, just drop it in the water. And then your brush is going to be saved. Okay. This is a really big brush for really big projects, but it's better for the camera. We're going to use this little brush that's been pretty loved, but it's my favorite. Okay. Dixie Belle, or all chalk paint, it spreads more evenly with its best friend, which is H2O. Okay, so we're going to open our chalk paint. Look at that color. Okay, I am going to give my brush a little spritz of water. It's not soaking wet, but it's damp. Uh-oh, someone's texting me. Okay. So I'm just going to dip it in my container. Honestly, you should pour it into something else, but I'm not using different colors. I'm just using the one color, so there shouldn't be any cross-contamination. Nice, long, even strokes on my drawer front. That's still that first little dip that I put in is giving me all this coverage. If I give it another quick spritz, it's pulling out the paint that's still in there. So one dip in my paint and I got that much of my drawer front covered. Always keep that brush wet. And you can see I don't have much paint on there at all. So I'm just going to go, I'm getting all my edges in, and then I like to just do nice long strokes. Sometimes because the paintbrushes are natural hair, just like the natural hair in our heads, they tend to fall out. So if you see, just keep brushing it until it brushes right off. I usually have my apron on so I can just smudge it off onto there. So I got my front done. I'm just going to run my paint down the sides of my drawer. Give it a little bit for in there. And that's it. So drawer number 1 has the first coat of paint on. I always refer to my first coat of paint as the ugly coat. You are not going to get 100% coverage on the first coat, and you shouldn't try to. If you try too hard to get 100% coverage on that first coat, you're going to end up using way too much paint. I don't care what anybody says, any paint, one coat doesn't do it. The second coat is going to cover this beautifully, but it's okay to have that little bit of ugliness in there. So there's one coat of paint on one drawer front. Okay, now we're going to hit the rest of it.